Welcome back to another session of KimBits. I am your host, Kim Sutton, and if you haven't been here before, welcome. Today I want to talk about speaking up, and I've seen so many different instances or examples of how this is relevant this week that it's astounding to me. From my own personal life to the lives of my kids to the lives of my clients, there's so many ways often that we don't speak up for a variety of reasons. Number one, we're scared. Number two, we don't know what to say. Number three, we're afraid of offending people. And I feel like this is all coming into play right now, especially given what's going on out there in society. I'm not going to talk about political or race relations today. All I have to say about all of that is if you don't have anything nice to say, sometimes just don't say anything at all. I understand that we all have our own personal opinions. I know I have mine. I know you have yours. But there's some people who I feel like are just causing trouble out there. That's all I'm going to say about that. But to move into speaking up and how I've seen it relevant this week, I'm going to start with an example of my child. I know he doesn't subscribe to my YouTube channel, so I think it's safe to share a little bit of the story here. He's 14. He's a freshman in high school. And this week, he and his girlfriend broke up again. I think this is the third or fourth time. And I don't really know her, quite honestly, because her parents have their own rules. But what she texted to me after was that this year, especially as freshmen in the high school for the first time, with a lot of outside commitments, she was worried that if she were still dating my son, that she would get too preoccupied to really be able to focus on what's important for her right now, which I think is a really valid concern. I know that when I entered college, I was dating my high school sweetheart. We were 16 hours apart, but so many times I put making him happy before I did my own happiness, and I would never speak up because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. I didn't want to cause a fight. But in the spirit of speaking up, we have to get over that concern because our happiness needs to come first. And I've heard the expression before, when mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Well, I don't care if you're a mom or a dad or a single person or a teenager or a child. You deserve to be happy. And often when we don't speak up, we sit here with a feeling in our gut that just eats us alive because we're afraid to say what's really on our mind. So we'll keep on enduring whatever that challenging situation is and never say a thing about it. Don't do that. I know, and I'm married to my best friend, okay? I know that I endured, for lack of a better word, 6 years of, well, not even 6 years. There were some situations that I didn't discuss because I didn't want to rock the boat. I was afraid that by discussing things that I wasn't necessarily happy with, that would turn my relationship with my husband now into the hostile relationship that I had with my ex in the past. And that wasn't the case at all. We built our relationship on open communication, and I was preventing that from happening because I wasn't sharing what I wasn't happy with. And it was little things. But by sharing, eventually, it took me 7 years into our relationship to realize I had to share because it was eating me up. They were things that could be easily changed. But I was scared to do it. There's no reason why we should be scared to do that. Now, when it comes to my business, I've often kept quiet even longer, and I haven't had a 7-year client, but I've had 3-year clients that I kept my mouth shut with for years because I was afraid of losing income. And when you do that, you can often get to the point where you just blow up. If you take a step back, though, instead, and maybe write a draft email, sit on it overnight, sit on it for maybe 2 nights, revise it to smooth it over a little bit more, and then send it. Immediately, number one, the stress will come out of your belly because you'll know that you have it out of you. And believe me, I realize that often there's new stress that comes on because you're like, oh shoot, I just sent that email. What are they going to say back? I'm afraid about what they're going to say. Well, who cares what they're going to say? Because now you finally stated your piece. I realized yesterday that for years, I've been a doormat. Seriously, there could have been one of those rough rugs right next to me that said step here with my name on it, and people could basically just clean their shoes on me because I wasn't standing up for myself. I wasn't saying what was irritating me, and that wasn't fair. And I never share names on here, but I had a client who hired somebody to design their website. In the end, it looked like poop. I mean, my 7-year-old could have designed it better. And I said, you can't keep this. Let me do something about it. So I redesigned a website for the client, and it looked amazing. But at the bottom of the website, there was a copyright date and there was a footer that included the copyright date and a design by link. And the design by link was the name of the person who originally designed the site and is still to this day hosting the website. That's a conversation I'm not even going to touch on. Let's just say it's not good. But the client didn't want to change the name out at the bottom because they didn't want to rock the boat with the person who was hosting their site. I didn't say anything about it for 9 months. I didn't say anything about it until yesterday because I couldn't help it anymore. It irritated me. Well, actually, I am going to go back to the hosting. What happened was, number one, all the websites that the client manages were suspended. And from my own personal experience with financial struggle, I know that when a website says suspended, the hosting's been suspended for lack of payment. Let's just be honest here. And then I had talked to the hosting person a year ago, and I said, because I've been through this experience myself, I said, do you do backups? Do you have security on your hosting? Yes. Well, I guess last week the website was hacked. Everything was lost. I've already been off. I haven't been working with the client for a while, but another red flag went up. Like, hello, this is something that I discussed, and now twice in the last 6 months you've had sites suspended for lack of payment, and now you've been hacked and your website needs to be redone. So seeing that footer yesterday and hearing some words I really didn't want to hear from the client, I responded. I said, it's rubbed me the wrong way that you wouldn't put my name at the bottom and you still have this person's name when number one, you didn't get a good design. It was very amateur. Number two, the hosting has been crap. Do you really want to be promoting a service to your community, your huge community, where they're going to get crappy service like you have? Do you want to be responsible for their sites going down due to lack of hosting payment, or their sites getting hacked and them having to pay a lot more to get them restored because it's in your footer? And I hadn't said anything like this for 9 months because I didn't want to rock the boat. But yesterday I decided I can't not say anything anymore. It's not about not having my name at the bottom of the site. Would I love the exposure? Yes. But it's a matter of integrity and ethics. Don't put somebody's name down there that doesn't provide good service. You got to speak up. And about that, I've seen clients who were paying me well not treat their clients ethically. And for the longest time, I put up with it because I wanted to guarantee that the money was, that my family was taken care of financially. But there came a point where I couldn't be quiet anymore because I have my own morals. I have my own ethics. I have my own God that I need to report to. And by not speaking up, I wasn't staying true to me or my faith. So I had to speak up. And in both cases, it cost me my position with the client. But number one, it's important to me to see that any customer, any client gets what they have paid for. with both of these clients, I just want to make it clear that I provided what I was paid for, but their clients were not getting what they paid for. I hate to see bait and switch. I hate to see just unethical billing practices happening. It's not cool. I don't want that weight coming on to me. And when I'm in charge of their marketing and their systems behind, I am also personally responsible. So I couldn't have any part to do with it. I lost those clients. And I was afraid of losing those clients for the longest time. But you know what happens when you speak up and you stay true to you and you honor your integrity? Is that other people who also share the same values will find their way into your life. You'll find those clients who are in line with you. So speak up. Don't be afraid to voice what's important to you. Don't be afraid to call people out for their, I'm just going to say it, for their shitty behavior. It deserves to get called out because sometimes people don't even think about what they're doing. I've had a number of clients who I would call woo in the abundance space, in the manifestation space, in the attracting good stuff space. But I'm going to call them out publicly right now because every single one that I worked with had working with them behind the scenes was not an abundance mindset. They were actually very much in scarcity mindset. And while I didn't call them out in public, I found it very disingenuous that that's what they were offering, that's what they were providing to their clients when they didn't even have it true in their own lives. And I'm not calling them out by name right now, and I won't ever. But I want you to think about that. Are you working with clients who don't walk their talk? If they walk their talk, could they do a better job at serving their clients and attracting more of their ideal client? Do you think maybe you should say something about it? Or are you walking your talk? Because if you're not, you deserve to call yourself out for it. Because the moment that you do, you can start to change. You can start to improve your business. But you can't be afraid to speak up to your loved ones, to your clients, to your community, to people online who you see not acting appropriately. I'm going to share one more example. I have a large Facebook group called Virtual Assistant Jobs. I started my business in 2012 as a virtual assistant. I haven't been a virtual assistant since 2014. Anyway, this group is a no spam group. Anybody who enters has to fill out the Facebook questionnaire, and the only posts that are allowed are job postings, and then the VAs can respond in chat or connect with the clients somewhere else. All right, but it's a large international group with over 50,000 members. When you get a large international group like that, I'm in America. The rate of pay for American and Canadian virtual assistants is much different than the rate of pay for Indian or Filipino assistants. It's just fact. And there are clients on there who may want to get an American VA, or there's clients on there who may just be starting out and not be able to afford any more than a Filipino VA. You have to know where you're at to be able to grow your business in the most responsible manner. And I hold no judgment for somebody who can only afford $5 an hour right now. What happened last March, so March of 2019, was that somebody had posted that they wanted to hire a VA for $5 an hour. It's always been a rule in this group that if you don't have something nice to say about the job, if the job is not for you, if your rate of pay is much higher, you don't need to say anything. Don't say anything, in fact, and just move on. Wait for the next position to come about. You don't need to shame the client for not paying more. You don't need to shame the VAs for being interested in working for a lower rate than you might need to. I mean, the cost of living is considerably different. So on this day, and it was actually my 40th birthday, I saw this heated exchange going on, and I stepped in, and per the rules of the group, I immediately deleted people who were involved in bullying, and I reminded the rest of the group that if they didn't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Well, as a result of that, I received multiple death threats against me and my kids on my 40th birthday, on the day that this all went down. I almost shut up shut the doors of my business because of it. I was so shaken. This is the first time it's happened. It's not the last time. It's happened since then too, but I'm not going to step down on this. If you don't have something nice to say in this group, then move on. Every position is not going to be for you. Every position is not going to pay what you want it to. This doesn't just apply to you being a virtual assistant. It could apply to my position. I mean, I'm a marketing mentor. Somebody may only have $20 an hour to pay, and they might want the opinions of a VA who might be going through a course right now. And I'm okay with that. I'm not going to shame a prospect because my rate for my monthly packages is higher than they can afford. I would never do that. That's burning the bridge for future work down the road when they outgrow whatever their current person is providing. And that's what these, the American and Canadian VAs in this group are doing. They were eliminating any chance of them being hired in the future when the VA or when the client could afford them, after the overseas VA helps them get to the next level. I have overseas team members. I have American and Canadian team members. It's just part of it. But they all have their role. And let me tell you, I'm contributing to their life by the opportunities that I'm giving them through my company. After I stepped up and shared this, and after I got the death threats, I did share into the group what had been going on. And I expressed, that this is a group that we run basically for free. The money to run the group comes out of my pocket because I'm paying team members to help me run it. A group of 50,000 is not a small thing to run. And the response I got from one person really touched me, and it reminded me why it's important to keep on speaking up, to keep on expressing what's not okay, and even to share what is okay. This person is a VA from the Philippines, and minimum wage in their town is $1.50 an hour. Here in my town in Ohio, I believe it's approaching $10 an hour, if not already there. By providing them the opportunity to get a job through my group, they were able to get a job for $5 an hour, which is triple the minimum wage in their town. I want you to think about that. If your kid, I'm thinking about my 14 and 17-year-olds now. If they were able to go out and get a job, not at the $10 an hour, but at $30 an hour, that would be huge for them. They could get their cars faster so that I can stop driving them around. They could, build savings for college. They could set up themselves for a really prosperous future. But that's what this group is doing. So I can't just stand by and watch as other people are talking down to people and bullying them. It's not okay. And it's not okay for you either. So moving forward, you can be respectful when you speak up for yourself. You can say, I feel like, and then state your opinion there. And your feelings are always valid. Might you have misinterpreted something? Yes, I do that all the time. I assume. I'm guilty of assuming far more than I should. But I am a lot more comfortable now saying I feel and then sharing what I feel. Because letting that out, to go back to the beginning of this video, letting out how I feel allows the other person to engage in conversation with me, and we can clear up the misunderstandings, and then we can move on. So today, speak up, my friend. You deserve to be happy, and you deserve to be successful. You deserve to have a life that you love and a business that you love. So speak up for you, what you believe in, and your happiness. I will be back on Monday with another episode of KimBits. But until then, go forth and make it a positive and a productive day.